afternoon. The voters have spoken, and while the outcome is not what we hoped for, I respect their decision. In November of 2022, Alameda County took a huge step forward toward a better criminal legal system. In January of 2023, I took office, and since then I've fought to bring change and help to a broken criminal justice system. Under my leadership as district attorney, we made incredible strides towards serving the victims in this county. We increased the number of victim witness advocates by 38% and diversified the workforce for the first time in decades by hiring Cantonese and Mandarin speakers, Hmong speakers, more African Americans, so that we would have a culturally diverse workforce to serve the incredibly culturally diverse community in Alameda County. We also reorganized the office, streamlined the claims process, and reduced the delays in compensating victims and paying providers from a year or more to mere days. In 2023, we increased the number of victims served by the Family Justice Center by more than 1,500 people, thanks to the help of Dr. Tony Jackson and the dedicated staff at the Family Justice Center. And through our Victim Witness Advocates Division, we served over 22,500 victims in our first year alone, and their families. We are the success story for the state of California because of the improvements made by my team in the Victim Witness Advocates Division and our success in obtaining funding and maintaining funding for victim services in this county. Dr. Jackson has attested to the dramatic improvements in victim services and support under my administration. We introduced technology to ensure that victims receive the proper notification of court dates and information on cases and reports of child abuse countywide, which had been ignored. The electronic suspected child abuse report system, eSCARS, will be launched later this month in Alameda County to fulfill our responsibilities at the district attorney's office to track and ensure timely and reliable tracking of child abuse cases. My team and I prioritize reducing gun violence, the fentanyl drug crisis, and tackling human trafficking. We prosecuted murderers and other violent persons throughout Alameda County at a higher rate than my predecessor, and we processed more than 12,000 cases. Just last week, we obtained a 50-year to life sentence for a former Alameda County deputy sheriff who killed 2 people. In the Kevin Nishida case, which was popularized by the media as some failed effort on our part, the preliminary hearing in that case started on October the 10th, and it is proceeding just as dozens of other cases are proceeding through the criminal legal system. In the Jasper Wu case, the 2 defendants we believe responsible for the toddler's death are in jail, charged with murder and other gang and gun enhancements. One of them faces 265 years to life in prison if convicted on all charges. The other faces 175 years to life if convicted on all charges. In the Tuan Lei case, the 3 men who we believe are responsible for his death are being prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law under my administration, and our team successfully, the team that I put together and assigned specially to handle that case, has successfully established at the preliminary hearing a key fact in that case, that these men knew that Officer Lei was a police officer, even though he was working undercover. Last week, the state of California announced the award of a firearm relinquishment grant for Alameda County of $5,588,089 that my team, that I hired, worked on with the court and the Oakland Police Department. We are very proud of the fact that Alameda County was recommended for the highest amount in the state than all other grantees. Since June of 2024, when I convened the second gun violence roundtable, we have been working collaboratively with the Alameda County Department of Public Health to produce an up-to-date report on gun violence in Alameda County, the first one produced by this office in over 6 years. We also held landlords and swindlers and corporate criminals to account while increasing pathways to recovery from addiction and family reunification. For the past 2 years, we sponsored conferences to support recovering addicts. Just last month, we convicted an Oakland-based towing company of illegally towing cars and created a $500,000 restitution fund for the residents of this county who lost their cars illegally. There was a criminal conviction as well as the restitution fund. We are suing insurance companies whom we believe illegally defrauded consumers in Alameda County on both home and insurance policies. Our new Consumer Environmental and Special Prosecution Unit brought in over $20 million in the first year of my administration, holding corporations accountable through settlements and judgments, 5 times more than previous administrations. We obtained the first ever criminal indictment against a alleged corporate polluter, a corporation accused of polluting this community with toxic fumes, and 2 corporate managers who endangered the lives of local firefighters. The current leaders in my administration are all experienced attorneys. Our branch heads alone have 141 years collectively of prosecutorial experience. Most of our new hires over the last year have been lateral attorneys with decades of experience. We were able to successfully recruit seasoned prosecutors from Sacramento County, Santa Clara, Sonoma, San Francisco, Marin, and Contra Costa, and as far away as Philadelphia and Kauai. The head of our gender justice division that I created is a former elected district attorney of the island of Kauai with decades of prosecutorial experience. In the first year of our administration, we expanded the felony trial team, the mental health collaborative courts team, the sexual assault team, the domestic violence team, and the juvenile justice unit. And today, Alameda County prosecutors are the second highest paid prosecutors in the 9-county Bay Area of all prosecutors' offices. We created a public accountability unit and exposed decades of prosecutorial misconduct, excluding Jewish, Black residents, and sometimes LGBTQ+ residents from juries, from death penalty juries. This huge constitutional scandal was glossed over by my predecessors, and there's evidence of an attempt to cover up the misconduct by discrediting in the media the whistleblower who first exposed it back in 2005. We have hired dozens of lawyers who want to change lives and not destroy them. We successfully created and launched a Victims Advisory Commission, a Mental Health Commission, a Reentry Commission, a Civil Rights Bureau, and a Community Support Bureau. We restored and expanded services at the Family Justice Center and the CARES Navigation Center. Last but not least, I will leave this office with a robust grant portfolio, the most robust grant portfolio in the history of the District Attorney's Office, more than $21 million in grants received since January of 2023. This accomplishment is the direct result of the financial acumen and stewardship of Chief Assistant District Attorney Royal Roberts, who will lead the office as the interim district attorney until a new DA is appointed. Chief Roberts is extremely capable and committed to justice and the people of this county. Leading an agency with a budget over $100 million and 400 plus employees requires far more knowledge, skill, and experience than just being a line deputy, a criminal prosecutor. Chief Roberts came to the DA's office as a seasoned executive from the Peralta Community College District, where he had a successful tenure in the leadership of the administration there, including serving as chief assistant to the chancellor and general counsel of the district. Additionally, Chief Roberts has been a well-respected leader at the Martin Luther King Freedom Center, which is one of our fundamental organizations for young people in this county, where Barbara Lee and Elihu Harris have led the development and the education of young people in this community for many years. Chief Roberts holds multiple degrees, including a law degree, a master's in public administration, and is currently defending his dissertation for a doctorate in business administration. I am confident that with Chief Roberts at the helm, the DA's office is in good hands until my successor is in place. I also came to this seat well prepared to lead the conversation about criminal justice reform and this agency. As a survivor of the Ohio juvenile justice and foster care system, and the first foster child to serve in this capacity, I understand the challenges that young people face when judged by adult standards before they are ready to handle the responsibilities of adulthood. As a survivor of domestic violence and sexual assault, I understand the challenges that women face in a world filled with gender-based violence, intimidation, and exploitation. When I took on Yale University in 1977 and became the sole lead plaintiff in Alexander versus Yale, the first case to challenge sexual harassment in education, I was standing in the gap for rape victims. Our tenacity established sexual harassment as a violation of Title IX and led to the first grievance procedures for sexual harassment at universities across this country, as well as every high school, elementary school. It was that case that established the bar. As someone who then spent 30 plus years of her professional life fighting for victims and successfully helping them rebuild their lives, I understand the challenges victims face who experience trauma and loss. I often use my own money to help make sure that people got justice in an unjust system, got their day in court, and fought to bring justice to so many people in this community. As one of a handful of Black women to stand before the United States Supreme Court and successfully argue a case to establish the standard for a racially hostile environment, I know the devastation that racial bias in the workplace can cause to an employee and his family, or her family. When Abner Morgan and I won his racial harassment case in the United States Supreme Court 22 years ago, we knew that we were opening the door for millions of workers to pursue harassment claims in the workplace based on race, religion, gender, disability, national origin, and retaliation. As someone who sued the California Department of Corrections over and over and over again for gender discrimination, retaliation, and race discrimination, and led the design of the injunctive relief order that established a statewide policy. It was the basis for a statewide policy to protect women correctional officers from harassment. I came to this position with a front row seat to the flaws in our state correctional system. I'm heartened knowing that when I leave this office, I will do so immensely proud of the work that we have done to improve the office and move the needle of criminal justice reform. None of it would have been possible without the dedication of my executive leadership team, my incredible executive leadership team, our dedicated Protect the Win volunteers who tried mightily to save Alameda County from this day. and the unwavering support of my family. From the bottom of my heart to those of you who are here, thank you.
Thank you.
To those who place their trust in me with your vote, please know that I will never stop fighting for the values we share. While this chapter has come to an end, I remain committed to making a more equitable and fair system of justice that does not discriminate based on race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, wealth, and I encourage all of you to stay engaged and continue advocating for the changes we need. As we look ahead, I urge the community to uplift the Public Accountability Unit by supporting those courageous prosecutors and inspectors who review cases of alleged misconduct by public officials and those sworn to protect and serve this community. Previous leaders of this office turned a blind eye to prosecutorial misconduct and cases of the worst kinds of abuse and neglect, criminal negligence by some members of our law enforcement community. Although I will no longer be here to oversee the work of the Public Accountability Unit, it is important that the work continues beyond my tenure. We must not continue to have two systems of justice that are separate and unequal in Alameda County. That is the way of the past. It is up to you and me to make sure that future leaders of this office remain independent decision makers and stay the course of holding public officials accountable and law enforcement officers accountable for their actions. Our challenges are too great to be divided. I believe we all share the same hope for a community that is safe, demonstrated by a government committed to achieving that goal by investing in things that promote public safety, like better schools, affordable housing, jobs that pay living wages, and access to quality health care for families. Mental illness should not be a crime, nor a death sentence in Alameda County. My team and I are working internally to ensure a smooth transition and with the responsible county officials to provide my successor with as much information as possible. I will not abandon the residents of Alameda County as my predecessor did by simply walking away. I appreciate the opportunity to serve my community and to have made history in Alameda County. And I leave this office in a much better place than how we found it. I also want to thank the District Attorney's Office staff that continues to serve the public with dignity, respect, and compassion. My inspectors who guarded my safety, and the residents of Alameda County for having the courage to trust in my leadership. I thank you for the honor of serving you as your district attorney, and I applaud you for going to the polls in 2022 and believing in the possibility of reforming our criminal justice system after 100 years here in Alameda County. Thank you all for coming. It has been a long morning, and I will not take questions at this time. God bless you.